Samsung was probably my favorite in the camera department up until the Google Pixel came along. Their hardware game has been very strong, and although the software processing does tend to make lesser than full use of it, the results are more often than not pretty great. However, in the past year or two, other manufacturers have caught up with Samsung, and phones like the Pixel have shot ahead in huge leaps in terms of the camera setup offered. The Galaxy S9 Plus is the first S-series device to feature a dual camera setup and adopts a wide angle plus telephoto lens combination. But more importantly, it features a 960fps super slow motion video mode and is also one of the first smartphones to incorporate a dual camera aperture system, especially on such a mainstream smartphone. This is Sandeep from RevAtlas. Let's examine the S9 Plus camera in detail to see what it has to offer. On the S9 Plus, the sensor is still a 12MP 1.4 micron pixel size, 1x2.55 inch sensor with OIS. But what has improved drastically this time is the aperture, which opens up all the way up to f1.5 compared to f1.7 of the past. I say opens up because this time around the camera does have a variable aperture. It can choose between f1.5 or f2.4, but nothing in between, so the most accurate term would be dual aperture. We shall discuss how this works and the benefits of this technology a bit later on in the review. Now let's talk about the image quality itself. The photos taken with the S9 Plus are pretty great in terms of the sharpness and dynamic range. It uses an image stacking algorithm that guarantees a much better dynamic range like the Pixel devices. While I wouldn't say that is better or even on par with the second generation Pixel devices, it definitely is the best outside of that camp. The shutter speed is also practically instantaneous and is one of the fastest, if not the fastest autofocus system we've seen on a smartphone. It does have a tendency to render foliage very weirdly with moire due to the processing, and also the white balance seems a bit yellowish at times. The excessive noise reduction leads to some watercolor effects on trees and leaves, especially when there's a lot of them. Other situations it doesn't show up as much, but pixel peeping does reveal loss in detail and sharpness due to the over-processing. The processing, however, does also give you much cleaner images under low light than before, especially thanks to the f1.5 aperture. By default, the S9 Plus camera shoots at f2.4, and it's only when the light drops that it switches automatically to f1.5. Users can manually choose to shoot at either aperture using manual mode, but otherwise it's entirely up to the phone to decide. The reasoning that Samsung gives for the dual aperture is that it allows the phone to more accurately capture brightly lit scenes as opposed to f1.5. However, the reason is probably this. A wide or more open aperture does allow more light to enter the lens at any given point of time. So at f1.5 and a shutter speed of 1/50th of a second, you'll definitely get more light into the sensor than with f2.4. But that extra light comes with a trade-off. The portion of the image that is in focus will be less sharper at f1.5 than it would at f2.4. This could be the reason why Samsung sticks to f2.4 by default, and in our experience the images do exhibit the same findings. Of course, the effect isn't as profound or pronounced as you would see on DSLRs or mirrorless cameras or any camera with a large sensor and variable aperture lens, but it's still there. You can tell especially when you pixel peep. Naturally, the depth of field is also shallower at f1.5 as compared to f2.4. So if you really want to have creamy bokeh, you'd be better off shooting at f1.5. Lastly, f1.5 allows for much better performance in low light conditions where the phone can capture brighter images at the same or lesser shutter speeds and ISO levels, therefore keeping noise at bay. In terms of low light performance, f2.4 works pretty well unless the light really drops in which case f1.5 could become a potential lifesaver. However, Samsung's algorithm doesn't seem to have been optimized too well for f1.5 since the images are noticeably much softer and lack the sharpness or detail that f2.4 can achieve with a longer shutter as well. Take these two photos for example. We took them in Pro mode, allowing the phone to choose everything else except the aperture itself. The phone chose an ISO of 640 and shutter speed of 1/500 to get the shot at f2.4, while at f1.5 we created an almost identically exposed image at ISO 500 and 1/640 shutter speed. The phone takes some brilliant panoramas, and the stitching is perhaps the best that we have seen on a smartphone recently. The files are large and rich in detail and resolution, unlike most of the other phones which produce panoramas that look good at a glance but break down when you pixel peep. The telephoto camera is a 12MP unit as well with f2.4 aperture, 1 micron pixel size, 1/3.6 inch sensor size and OIS just like the primary camera. Live focus mode is the portrait mode in the S9 Plus and it remains largely unchanged. It offers 2x optical zoom, which results in a focal length of 52mm compared to 26mm focal length of the wide-angle camera. Under good lighting, the telephoto lens performs very well and provides that extra reach, especially when you can't afford to step closer to the subject or object in question. Its image output is pretty comparable to the wide-angle camera as well, but when light drops, it isn't too good, and especially a live focus mode tends to produce some less than impressive results. The sharpness too isn't great, and despite the OIS, is still prone to shakes. I'm probably noticing it more because I'm coming from the Pixel to XL, but a brighter lens could have definitely helped it a lot. However, the portrait algorithm has been tweaked further and the edges are better detected than say when the Note 8 initially launched. However, it isn't the best and Google still holds on to her title despite managing to do so with a single lens and clever software. Onto the front-facing 8MP autofocus camera with 1x3.6 in sensor size, 1.22 micron pixel size and f1.7 aperture. The quality of the images are pretty good and the dynamic range is nice too. There's pretty good detailing and the bright lens ensures good performance even under low light conditions. There's a portrait mode as well for the front-facing camera called Selfie Focus. It does pretty well in terms of creating a nice blur and bokeh, but the edge detection isn't perfect. It's much better than the iPhone X but falls short of the Pixel devices. The threshold for blurring algorithm seems too lenient and as a result portions of your ears are often blurred too, and even with a pretty easy face such as mine to blur without any hair, you can see the algorithm going wrong at certain parts. It does apply a blur well even with 2 people in the frame, but fitting more people in could be an issue with the 25mm focal length. This is where the wide selfie mode comes in. The stitching is again great and can be used not just for group selfies but also to capture a more dramatic and scenic selfie. In group selfies, everyone would need to remain pretty still however. Coming to the videos, there are plenty of options to choose from, all the way up to 4K UHD resolution in both 30 and 60 FPS. However, the difference is that video stabilization EIS won't be available in UHD 60 FPS and 1:1 aspect ratio videos, while anything about 1080p 30 won't get tracking autofocus. OIS is available in all video modes though. You also have the option to record videos in H.265 HEVC format as opposed to H.264. The resulting video size captured with the new HEVC codec is almost half the size as the H.264 due to a lower bitrate, but it also has the same quality. H.264 will have better compatibility, but almost every service and operating system recognizes H.265 by default now. Video quality is pretty great and there's plenty of detail to play with, although foliage seems a bit weird and seems to have some Moira issues. Other stuff seems fine, and regardless of whether you choose 30 FPS or 60 FPS, you still get the same detail and sharpness, which is impressive since many other smartphones don't get the same level of detail in 60 FPS mode. Focus remains great and dynamic range is impressive too. You can record videos with both the wide angle as well as telephoto cameras, but you cannot switch between either camera while recording in UHD 60 FPS mode, but you can do so in 30 FPS mode. You need to start shooting with telephoto camera in order to use it in 60 FPS. The front-facing camera also records some great videos. Here the maximum resolution is QHD 1440p. However, it supports stabilization only up to 1080p. Nonetheless, the video quality is pretty good and the dynamic range and detailing is on point as well. So this is the front-facing camera of the Galaxy S9 Plus capturing 1080p 30fps video, and the stabilization turned on as well. So let me know what you guys think about the stabilization while I walk. Also the overall dynamic range, the sharpness, the video quality, and even how well it's picking up my voice. We are in kind of an open area. There's a lot of background noise going on, a lot of birds chirping, water fountains, etc. But let me know how the overall audio quality is and how well the dynamic range is and the video quality too. So this is the front-facing camera of the Galaxy S9 Plus capturing QHD video. So there's no stabilization in this mode as well, and the maximum stabilization you can get is 1080p at 30 fps with the front-facing camera. But let me know whether there's a drastic improvement in terms of the overall image quality, the sharpness, dynamic range, and how well it's picking up my voice as well. Now on to the most exciting addition in the videos, the super slow motion. The S9 Duo can capture 960 fps videos, which is essentially 32 times slower than a regular 30 fps video. However, it can only do this for 0.2 seconds due to buffer limitations. It'll continue to record a regular video before and after that until it is ready to record super slow motion again. Samsung also has a really intelligent AI algorithm that knows when to trigger the super slow motion unless you prefer to do it manually. All you have to do is keep the desired object or subject within the square and it automatically records in super slow motion when it detects any movement. 0.2 seconds of super slow motion gives you around 6 seconds of footage when played back at 30 fps. You can get some dramatic results and the AI algorithm works really well. It even managed to capture a fly taking off, and that's about as small as most of your objects or subjects can get. The major downside to all this is the resolution. 720p definitely seems to have aged poorly in this day and age where even 4K is no longer an industry leading resolution. A 1080p implementation on 960fps like Sony could have made this a lot more useful, but this is still a really fun and awesome feature to have. Oh, and the phone can also record 1080p 240fps slow motion, which seems pretty regular now, but you have to enable it by diving into a settings menu. The Galaxy S9 Plus is probably the most feature-packed camera phone in the market and one that also packs some serious hardware innovation. The result of all that is a great all-rounder of a camera that's probably one of the best on the market. However, it isn't the best, and that is a disappointment. The Pixel 2 series is what I feel is the best, and despite being half a year old by now, they can still produce much better images in any lighting condition than the S9 Duo, and even taking much better portrait photos with a single camera, and that's a shame. Samsung still have a long way to go if they want to brand themselves as being the best in the game, but of course the S9 Plus is much more than its camera and has so much more to offer. We'll talk more about those in detail during our review. Thanks for watching this video. See you again in the next one.